Well, hello there and welcome back. This is episode 40 of my Minecraft 1.15 Let's Play. I'm here at the perimeter that I started in my last episode, and I finally got these trenches all dug out. So these trenches are required by the World Eater because the World Eater will move down, and as it's moving down, you need to make sure that there's no blocks in the way of the process. So you have to clear out these trenches. They need to be 15 blocks on each side in order to make sure that the machine doesn't hit anything on its way down. And then these ones over here, these side ones, these are largely just to make sure that no water or lava flows from this side over onto this side. So this doesn't need to be very wide. It just needs to be a few blocks just to make sure that there's no liquids flowing over. So this actually took me quite a long time to do. The flying machines that you saw in the last clip, those were actually really easy to set up, and they did most of the work for me. So that didn't take very long at all. What took me a really long time was removing all the lava. So this side right here was basically like half lava. There was a whole bunch of lava over there and quite a bit over here. This side wasn't actually very bad at all, but I just did not get lucky on the lava lottery, and I ended up having to remove a lot of lava. And a lot of the time there's blocks underneath the lava, so you've got to get the lava out of the way just to make sure that you removed all the blocks all the way down. Otherwise, the lava prevents, then, it just doesn't work very well. So now that I've got all that set up, we're ready to move on to the next step. But it's been 4 days since I released my last episode, and right now I've got 2 minutes of footage. So it looks like this video is going to be delayed just because this took me so long. It took me a few days. I mean, I've been working a lot as well, so that's part of it. But removing all that lava took me quite a lot of time. So let's get to the next step then. So the next thing I need to do is I need to go through and I need to make sure that there's no obsidian in this perimeter whatsoever. Obviously the TNT is not going to blow it up, and then the flying machines are going to run into it and it's going to cause problems. So there are a few ways that I can do that. One is to take the seed and then go into another world with the same seed and go into spectator mode and fly around and then mark the coordinates of all the obsidian. I could also just use my spectator account and do the same thing in this world. That's obviously a little bit cheaty, but it's the same basic effect as going into another world. It's basically the same thing. So basically any way you choose is a little bit cheaty, but you're gonna have to I have to get rid of all the obsidian. Otherwise, it'll just catastrophically fail the whole machine. So I've got to do something. So the third option is the one that I think I'm gonna try, and that is using light manicas. So I've set up this template here, and it's just air for 288 by 80 or so blocks by 288. So it's the full perimeter. If I actually turn this placement on, my frame rate drops to basically 0 because it's saying all those blocks are invalid blocks because they're not air. So that's kind of what I want, but I am only interested in a specific type of invalid. Man, my frame rate it's just struggling. All right, so to turn that off, so what I've done here is I've gone in and I've done a schematic verifier, and I've already run this because it takes about a minute for it to run. So I'm looking, here's all the blocks that are showing up in the world, and I'm just looking for the obsidian. And then if I click on that, it should only highlight, where is the obsidian? It's in here somewhere. I know there's obsidian in there. It's not showing up. Hold on. All right, I ran it again, and there's the obsidian right there. So there's 266 obsidian somewhere in this world. And if I click it, now it's showing me where all of them are. So that's kind of neat. It's even got the coordinates down there. So if I'm having trouble finding them, obviously most of them are going to be pretty low. I've also got the portal over there, and part of the flying machine that I've left, those are showing up. But then down here, I just need to go down to those spots. A lot of them I'm going to just like come down here and start looking through these caves and stuff like that, because there's quite a bit of that going on. And then find all the obsidian, and I've got to get rid of all of it. So here's what it looks like when I found one, and unfortunately I accidentally ended up creating 2 more over here because I've got a water source coming from over here. So it's best if I plug this water source first before I do anything, so that I don't just create more obsidian underneath it. Yeah, so there we go. So yeah, I've just got to go through, and as I remove it, you'll actually see it'll pop away and it recognizes it. So that's the benefit of using Lightmatica. It's a little more active in keeping track of where all the obsidian is in the world. So I like this method. It is a little bit cheaty, but it works. All right, so that didn't take very long at all. I do still have my portal frame there, but apparently I don't have a flint and steel here anymore. So I'm going to need to go back to my base and grab another flint and steel, and then I'll remove this portal when I get back. I got to go back to my base and grab all the materials for this build anyways. So we'll do that, and then we'll come on back and we'll start building this world eater. Alright, we should be ready to go here. So I've got the template all built up, and if I go into the schematic verifier, we've got some snow. That shouldn't be a problem. I tried removing that and it actually just snowed right back on top of it, so there's some snow over there. Other than that, the schematic should be perfect. And I've got another schematic down here that verifies that the trenches are all clear of all blocks, so no block should be in the way. I've removed the portal over there, and I have triple checked the coordinates for the 2 witch huts and then the center spot right there, and I've written those down because all this is going to get destroyed. So we should now be safe to remove this redstone block and get it running. I had a little bit of an issue here. Unfortunately, I didn't record the first clip where I set off this flying machine going in the first place. It got stopped because I had set up a conduit over there, and the conduit caused a problem. I totally forgot about it, but I think it's pretty recoverable. If it had been any other flying machine that had stopped, it probably would have started a chain reaction of this world eater destroying itself. But because it's this one on this end, this is the one that triggers this machine and tells it to go down and send everything. So basically the whole thing just stopped, and it was just waiting for this flying machine to come in. So hopefully there we go. Okay, that looks good. That scared me for a second there, but I think we're actually good. Yeah. Fortunately, I put the conduit in exactly the right space. I should have put it on the other side, and I just didn't even think about it. But looks like we're back on track again. Looks like it stopped again on this side. I'm not sure exactly why this block here didn't get blown up or anything like that. But I think I'm just going to remove all of this excess here because there was a big water pool here that hadn't got blown up. Probably, I don't know what exactly the conduit did all this, but it would be a lot safer if I just get rid of all this nonsense here and get it all out of the way so that I hopefully don't run into this problem again, and then I will restart this flying machine. Alright, I've had to reset these flying machines quite a few times in the past, but I always forget which direction pushes which. I believe when it's together like this, I want to trigger this observer so that it pushes, and then it'll pull, and then it'll go in that direction. But just in case, I've put an obsidian block way over there, and I want to put it right here because I've got to get it out of the way before these machines come back, and as soon as it goes over there, it's going to start dropping TNT. So I want to give myself a few seconds to remove that obsidian block. Should everything go right, but if everything goes wrong, I don't want it to go all the way over to that end over there. So let's go ahead and trigger this off, and hopefully, yep, I sent it in the right direction, so that's great. And then hopefully that gets everything working. Let's get rid of this obsidian block here. And it looks like everything's running again, and hopefully we don't have this issue any further. Let's get out of here. Ooh, frame rate's crawling. Looks like I've run into another little issue here, so I have stopped the machine before it gets any worse. So I had, you can actually see it up there, a single obsidian block here. And so the flying machine ran into that and apparently got blown up by all the TNT because it stopped. And so it never cleared out this lava here, so then the next flying machine got stuck on some blocks that never got blown up. So that's a bit of a problem. So we're missing 3 of the flying machines over here. This one this one doesn't look like it was blown up. I can probably just send that one on its way, but I'll have to rebuild the other 2. And then I actually had the same thing happen over here. I don't know how I missed these obsidian blocks, but there it is right there. And then we're missing 3 of them over here as well, and those are just plain gone. So I'll have to get rid of those obsidian blocks, get rid of all the lava. I'm probably going to have to break some blocks underneath all the lava just to make sure that the TNT, any of these water sources like this is probably needs to be removed manually. And then the same thing over there, just get rid of all the lava, get rid of any blocks underneath, and then I should be able, this should be pretty recoverable. This shouldn't actually take too long to fix up. Well, that's new. I'm glad I spotted that. So this is all new. It must have been some water drained down on top of this. So let me get rid of this as well. Glad I spotted this. Yeah, here's another one right here. It'd probably be a good idea to fly around and check any holes to make sure water didn't flow on top of water sources and deal with them if it did. So take care of this one, and then I'll go around and make sure there aren't any more like this. Turns out there were actually quite a few of those obsidian pockets there, so I ended up using Lightmatica again to make sure that I got them all, and they're all taken care of now, and so we're ready to start the machine again, and it should hopefully be the last time. So I actually ended up running into quite a bit more obsidian while I was running this flying machine. So what I ended up doing for the bottom layers, but every time I removed the redstone block over there, I just put it right back. And that way the world eater would run down to one side and then it would run back and then it would stop. And that way, every time it stopped, I would go through and I would check for obsidian. And I think that saved me quite a bit of headache because obsidian just kept popping up all over the place. And I actually ended up missing one spot of obsidian, so I've got one flying machine that got taken out. And I had to remove the lava from that section manually. And then the world eater, the TNT, just took care of all the blocks that were underneath it. So it didn't end up causing too much problem. I'm just out one of those flying machines, but it doesn't really matter at this point. I can't run those sweepers any further. So now that I'm there, I'm all the way down to bedrock. So the next thing I need to do is I need to remove all this lava. There's an older world eater by El Mango where he describes how you can get the bedrock down to a flat layer where it's stone and bedrock combined, like this kind of layer right here. And I considered doing that, but I was worried about slime spawning, and I don't think I really needed to. Obviously, you would put lights in the stone to prevent normal spawns from happening, and that would prevent the swamp slimes from spawning, and then I would just have to put buttons down on the slime chunks themselves in order to prevent those from slime spawning, and I think that would have worked just fine, but obviously that ship has sailed, so instead I'm just going to go all the way down to just bedrock. So now that I got all the lava filled in, I want these TNT flyers, these bombers here, I want them to run several more times so that I can make sure that I'm getting all of the blocks out from inside, deep inside the bedrock. I'm probably going to run this a decent number of times. So what I'm going to do, I've actually tested this out because I only get one shot at this, is I'm going to come up to the side here and get stuck in bedrock, of course. There we go. And so I'm going to ignore this section down here. I'm just going to go up to the next section. That first section down there, that's basically already buried in bedrock. It's not of much use to me. So I've got this redstone block right here, and if I remove that, it will launch this. So that's great. But the other thing I want to do is let's just get rid of a bunch of these slime blocks here. And we'll pick up that redstone block because I actually kind of need that. And then I'm going to place that redstone block. Ooh, it's really laggy. All right, so if I place the redstone block back under, this piston here and then remove it again, it's going to drop this another block. And I need to do that because when it gets over to that side, it's going to drop it another block. And then this makes sure that it goes over and they meet up at the same spot, which actually, that reminds me, I need to make sure it's stopped on the other side. I think it is, but I need to make sure that it is. Go ahead and put, oh, yeah, it actually can go one block lower. So let's make sure to stop that. And then, so yeah, so that's what I need to do. I need to drop it down a block. And then the other thing I need to do is I want to stop this one as well, so that when I send it back over from this side, man, it's so hard to fly with all this lag going on. And so if I put a redstone block right there, that'll stop this when it comes back over. So I need to do the same thing on the other side to start it again. So I will remove the redstone block on the second level up, and that'll get it going. And then I'll need to remove some slime so that I can send it, that I can move it down another block, and then lock it, and then I'll just keep doing that. I should be allowed, that should get me like 30 or more times that I can run these TNT sweepers back and forth before they start getting so close to the bedrock that they start damaging themselves. So I think that it should actually help make sure that I've got all of the blocks from inside of the bedrock here. I'm also going to want to go through, and I've exposed a bunch of new lava, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to want to clean that up between each run. That's why I wanted to stop it between each run. So I'm going to finish all this up between episodes. So I really wanted to get to building the witch farms in this episode, and I think it's pretty obvious at this point that that is not going to happen. I think I really underestimated this task. After doing the nether perimeter, I think I just kind of assumed that this one was going to be easy by comparison, and in almost every way, this is easier than setting up a nether perimeter, but it is by no means easy. It definitely has its own challenges. It's still very time consuming. So I just, I really underestimated how long this was going to take. So I'm glad to have this done. This is awesome. And we'll start on the witch farm in the next episode. Before I go, I wanted to put something to the viewers. I have somebody that I'm considering inviting to join me on this server, and I was wondering if you think that it would take away from the one-player element of this server, or if you think it would add something, or if you're pretty neutral in it. So I will put a poll up on the screen right now, and let me know what you think. Personally, I think it will add to the world quite a bit. I mean, it does take away some of the single-player element, because obviously it won't just be one player, but I think we can actually build much bigger things if there's two of us, and also, there's interaction. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So let me know what you think, and let me know in the comments as well if you have any other thoughts. But until then, I want to thank you very much for watching. You guys have a good one. Take it easy.